Bettor Sports Betting is your home for picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on Fantasy Alarm and Bettor Sports Network YouTubes. Thanks for joining us here. Howard Bender coming in hot with his Jets hat because somehow, some way, the Jets beat the Eagles yesterday. Still not really accepting that result even happened because I'm not sure how it happened, but it happened. So congrats to Howard. He's got to find some good vibes after he was, wrecking my Phillies last week. But we'll see if he comes through with the Diamondbacks money line bet for tonight's game. We'll see. Howard, how you doing, man?
I'm doing so well. I kind of figured, I didn't even mention anything about the game in our pre-show kind of chit-chat there, and I don't know if you maybe thought that I forgot or something.
I figured you just blocked it out. It seemed like last week when we were talking Eagles-Jets that you were just kind of out on the rest of the Jets season, but I guess you're back in. Are you back?
No. Listen, you know what? Listen, sun shines on a dog's ass at least once, right? I mean, come on. We turn around. I mean, that was probably more of an offensive ineptitude by the Eagles than anything else, really, than like really fine scheming by the Jets. But that was absolutely spectacular. I felt incredibly vindicated after taking those lumps and having to watch you do a show with a Phillies jersey on and fun stuff like that. So it was a nice little payback there for the New York Jets. You did hit your Breece Hall under rushing yard prop that I wished here on the show that it wouldn't hit.
I remember.
So it hit, but
yeah, it came at a cost.
You won the battle, my friend. We won the war.
I will win the next battle.
That was the first time the Jets have ever beaten the Philadelphia Eagles.
I know.
Can I get Adam Bernard in here, please? I believe, I'm not 100% sure. Adam, what football team do you root for?
I am a tortured New York Jets fan.
How do you feel about yesterday's results?
I mean, the fact that they didn't have their top two corners and the defense still played like that, man, oh, God, they are fun to watch. And I don't want to get too crazy here, but the bottom of the AFC wildcard picture is a lot more open than we thought it would be 6 weeks in. Mm-hmm. If they can beat the Eagles without their top two cornerbacks, with Zach Wilson at cornerback, you got Aaron Rodgers out on the field throwing footballs already.
He's going to be back in 2 weeks.
Just tread water as long as you can. Maybe the season's not entirely lost. I don't know, but that was a good win. And we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm sure they're going to lose an easy one at some point to balance that out, but we'll see.
Listen, as long as their defense is that good, they're going to be in games, They're going to be, and if you get a bad performance by a team like the Eagles, they could steal a game or two. So it's not totally out of the picture of them sneaking into the playoffs.
I mean, don't get me wrong. 4 turnovers definitely helped the Jets cause a ton. Let's not rule that out.
There you go. They were being opportunistic when they needed to be, but I mean, not really scoring off of that there.
That game, when it was, even when the Eagles had the lead late and the Jets went down and scored to take the lead with that Breece Hall touchdown, the whole game, I was like, the Eagles shouldn't be winning this game. If the Jets had any, competence on offense, they should be winning this game because they kicked 3 or 4 field goals when they probably should have scored another couple touchdowns there. It should not have been an Eagles lead late. So, yeah, I mean, the Eagles deserve to lose that game. I'll accept that because it wasn't like –
Jets now plus 500 to make the playoffs.
Okay.
Sprinkle.
Worth a little dime or two. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I do want to see what the medical records look like for Aaron Rodgers, because I don't necessarily know if I believe that he did rupture his Achilles.
Maybe he didn't.
I feel like, maybe something, that this could be all staged, right? You had the Hard Knocks team, that whole thing. Now Aaron Rodgers, he goes down on the first play, in the first series of the game. His Jets career lasted 4 plays. Right. And then all of a sudden, what now, healing crystals and lavender sprinkles and whatever it is that he uses for a doctor right now. That's somehow he has managed to defy the odds and come back from a torn Achilles, a ruptured Achilles this quickly that he's like throwing footballs on the field right now.
Maybe he took a trip to Germany to see the doctor that helped Brady and Kobe Bryant out in the past,
It's crazy. It's got Adam right in the chat there. Ayahuasca is magical. I don't think it's that magical, but it's pretty magical right there.
Coming up, by the way, on today's show, we got picks for today's 2 postseason games for baseball. We got the ALCS Game 2. We got NLCS Game 1. So me and Howard will be getting to those shortly. Yeah, we got the ALCS Game 2 starting up in about 30 minutes. So we'll definitely get our picks out for that game. And then, of course, Monday Night Football. Me and Howard got picks for Cowboys Chargers tonight to wrap up week 6. So that'll be good. But yeah, let's continue reviewing some of our wins and losses from Sunday's games in the NFL. We gave out all these picks on Friday's show if you missed it. So yeah, here you can see some of the winners and losers. Yeah, the Breece Hall under rushing yards came through for me. He had about 90 something total yards. He was used as a receiver, but the run defense for the Eagles is legit. And they even have Jalen Carter yesterday too, and they still held Breece Hall under that rushing yards. So that came through for me. I had a lot more success with these player props, as you can see, than my game picks. The James Cook over rushing yards came through last night in that game. In that final drive too for the Bills to really go over that. So that was a good win for me. Josh Downs was, even though the Colts bet did not come through, Josh Downs did get his receptions from Gardner Minshew.
And a touchdown.
And Kenneth Walker also came through with a touchdown there. I'll touch real quick on my losses here. I will own the Colts loss because that was, the Jags won that game throughout the whole game. I really didn't have faith in the Colts even, trying to cover that spread. The Ravens-Titans should have been an over. That was how many field goals did we get in that game? How many times did both teams get in the red zone and not get into the end zone? It finished just barely on the under. So I still think that was the right read on that, but whatever. It's a loss. And then the Seahawks +3. They had chances too. I think multiple late in the fourth quarter, they had chances to score and possibly take the lead. Did not end up going that way. Geno Smith kind of choked it in the end there, but that's a loss. Seahawks +3 there. And then Zach Ertz receptions. He had 2 catches on the day. He was not targeted nearly as much as he should have been. So
crazy, right? I was mind boggled with that. It was nuts,
especially because they're trailing. I was like, all right, Ertz is going to get his looks now, but nope.
Welcome back, Michael Wilson, right? You do really well. You score 2 touchdowns. Then you come back that next week and you take a dump and you do nothing. And now this week, you're glomming all the targets from Zach Ertz. So Michael Wilson slowly becoming everybody's favorite Cardinal.
Yeah. Who would have thought that a few weeks ago? All right. How about your side of things? You nailed the Vikings -3 to get that win over the Bears. Needed a Justin Fields injury, but whatever. A win's a win there.
Did I need the Justin Fields injury, Servo? I don't necessarily know if I needed that.
They had some guy, I don't even know, undrafted from Shepherd College come in as the backup.
Right,
so.
Yeah, but you were talking about the Vikings already had the lead before that, that fumble recovery for taking it back, but the Bears looked terrible. Both teams looked terrible in that game. So I got the least terrible, and I got the Vikings with -3. So I was in on that. Houston, New Orleans, the under. Just a kind of played the exact narrative that I thought. I hit with these 3 player props. So I was pretty psyched about that. Swift, I didn't see coming, in with 6 catches, but that's great. Cody Barton, we talked about the fact that, the Falcons, they push everything into the middle, and he was just in a great spot for that. Nico Collins, just under on the receptions there. I told you I only put a half unit on that. I wasn't thrilled with that one, but I thought that the number was a little high. It was just barely. Yeah. Seattle, Cincinnati, disappointed you, sir, or it disappointed me? That game was caca poo-poo. I'm talking about just settling for field goals and just mistakes and whatnot, dude. Now I totally get why Geno Smith got punched in the face by somebody. Like, I totally get it, because I literally just wanted to do nothing but punch him in the face yesterday with the way he played. It was terrible. It was a horrible game by both teams. Swaggy Joe ain't got no swag with me at all. Kind of a little bit of a bummer there. And then, Kirk Cousins again. Yeah, so that the Bears game, that was just, I was locked in on the 2 most disappointing games of this season, right? I mean, it was like Minnesota, Chicago was disgusting. And the weather obviously didn't help with the winds, but
yeah.
That was just gross. And Seattle, Cincinnati was just a gross game also. So I got duped by both of those. I did all right. Yeah, with Tyler Lockett not scoring a touchdown. Hell, thank you, Seattle. Thank you, Geno Smith.
Lockett caught a long pass on one of those late drives, and I thought he might score on that catch, but he got tackled, I think, at like the 10 or something. So I thought that was coming through for you.
Thanks, man.
Listen, so yeah, I mean, wins and losses. It's good that we hit on a lot of our player props. Those are some good vibes, because it's nice to like pinpoint certain specific matchups, specific players. You mentioned like the Cody Barton. These defensive props are have been profitable to this show. I know Grande and me have hit on some. You have hit on these now, so it's like these are I know we mentioned on Friday's show, sportsbooks might be starting to bump up these tackle props to double digits soon, but early in the season there's some value to be had there. So awesome to see a win there.
Yeah, and you don't even have to, that's the thing. You don't even have to know all of these linebackers. You just have to know what the offense likes to do. If it's like a run-heavy offense like the Falcons, that they just push everything north-south. And then even with their passing, there's still a lot of over-the-middle stuff. They don't really do a ton of, deep shots. They do some, but, they push everything into the middle. And also when you look at, defenses and where they do they funnel into the pass? Do they funnel into a run? That kind of a situation. So you just need to know what the offense is doing, and then just go to the defense, look at the defense and be like, oh, that's a middle linebacker. I'll bet you this dude like rocks it and tackles. You look him up, he rocks it and tackles. So you make that pick.
We didn't throw a bet out at all on the 49ers Browns game, and I'm glad, because I almost jumped on the 49ers side of things. Obviously, they lost outright to a PJ Walker led Browns team. I mean, this Browns defense is legit. I don't know if it's more on the 49ers, losing McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel in that game, and Brock Purdy just not really coming through in the end. But the Browns defense did its part. We should be. They're live now. I thought they might just be kind of a pretender in the AFC as a whole, but also in the division of the AFC North. But I got to take them more seriously now, I think.
I was going to save this story for Sirius XM Fantasy Alarm Show, but I'm going to drop it here as well. Because hand to God, I kid you not, Servo, about 3 to 5 minutes before kickoffs started in the morning, I was looking at my survivor pick. My wife had wanted to take the 49ers, and I was like, okay, yeah, let's take the 49ers. The Browns are dealing with PJ Walker. It's a backup QB, whatever. As I'm sitting there doing my stuff in the morning and all the work that that I'm doing for Fantasy Alarm, I'm like, there's just something about this Niners Browns game that's not settling in well with me. The under, it kept going. It was like from 37.5 down to like 35 at one point, and I was just like, there's something going on that I just don't see the 49ers like winning this one being like at 28-3. It's just the Browns defense is better than that. And so I just had bad vibes about it. I took out the 49ers as our survivor pick. I put in the Los Angeles Rams.
Wow. Good call. I was just thinking about survivor pools and how a lot of people probably got ruined by the 49ers or the Eagles and almost the Bills. The Bills almost lost that game to the Giants last night and probably should have. If you look at how the end of the first half went for the Giants there and the end of the game, easily could have been a Giants win. So, yeah, the good call on taking the Rams. That was, they didn't have to sweat at all to beat the Cardinals yesterday. So, good call on switching to them.
Yeah, that was just that it was like that move that happens where you're just like, you just feel so good about it. You're watching that game and whatever. And I was like, even if the Niners win this game, it would have given me so much anxiety to know that like this pick was, in on the 49ers. And it just feel
good call. Yeah, so that's how Sunday went for us from Friday's picks that we gave out on this show. We'll be doing it again next Friday, so definitely come back in for me and Howard's bets for Week 7. Got to wrap up Week 6. We got Monday Night Football to talk about, but first we got to touch on these postseason games for baseball because we got 2 games coming up. First, just want to remind you guys to get the Fantasy Alarm All-Pro subscription. You can unlock all the content for every sport that we got, annual draft guides, for NBA coming up. The NHL best bets from Wags is up there with the All-Pro subscription. You can get the NFL DFS playbook for tonight's Monday Night Football game, baseball postseason DFS playbooks, all that good stuff. You get in the Discord chat, get your questions answered, league sync, lineup generator for fantasy football, daily, weekly rankings, all that good stuff. Go scan that QR code right there. Go to fantasyalarm.com/win. Use promo code LOCK to get the promo here. $16 a month for the All-Pro subscription. Less than $16 a month to get in that year-long subscription. So definitely jump on that. As I mentioned, baseball, the MLB DFS playbook is up for these 2 games today. And let's jump in. We got Rangers-Astros, Game 2 in the ALCS coming up here in just about 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes now. First pitch for that game. The Astros are favored here, -120 in the money line. Rangers +100. Rangers won last night in Game 1. We had a great start from Jordan Montgomery, shut down this Astros lineup. Verlander was pretty good himself, but the Rangers got across a couple runs and ended up being enough. But we got the Rangers +100 on the money line. Any picks for this game?
I'm just taking the Rangers on the money line here, Servo. I think that's
riding the rain. They're undefeated so far in the postseason,
right? I mean, why wouldn't I go for the Texas Rangers? Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been riding them the entire time. Good, solid, like the 4th best weighted on base average against left-handed pitching. Framber Valdez, he has the tendency to get, to have some blowups. We saw that in the second half of the season. So, listen, I'm investing in what we've got. Nathan Eovaldi is a guy who can just keep you in the games, right? And he doesn't have to, yes, has he had his missteps? Of course. And has he had injuries? Of course. But when it comes down to it, I think that he's, against a lineup that's kind of cold right now for Houston. So I'm in. Give me those Rangers, man. They're winning me money throughout this postseason. Everybody else is losing me money.
I'm totally with you. Give me the Rangers in the first 5 innings. I looked at, I'd probably go with their money line too, but I like their first 5 innings to be leading. They've led after 5 innings in every single postseason game so far. I think it continues tonight. Obviously, they are undefeated too in the postseason, so that's a trend too. But you mentioned Eovaldi, strong postseason so far. Really good outings against the Rays and Orioles in the first 2 rounds. Only 2 earned runs allowed over his 13 and 2/3 innings across those 2 starts. really good postseason pitcher. Eovaldi, we've seen that with the Red Sox in the past. Has experience pitching in Houston too with the Red Sox 2 years ago, and when he was with the Red Sox in 2018. So experience pitching in this ballpark. You mentioned the Astros lineup. Just we got a report today that Yordan Alvarez is kind of dealing with a virus, so he's playing a little sick, and he's also, I think he struck out 4 or 5 times yesterday. Is kind of gone a little cold, as good of a hitter he is. So I think that just got to downgrade this Astros lineup. And you mentioned also Framber Valdez. He's been shaky. He did not have good outings in his last 2 regular season starts. It carried over into the ALDS matchup against the Twins. He allowed 5 runs on 7 hits in that game, 3 walks as well. And you mentioned that the Rangers offense is really good against left-handed pitching. I think it could be an issue here with Valdez on the mound against Eovaldi. I just have a lot more faith in the Rangers side of things right now. And just, playing with a ton of momentum. They're a team that's they're going to try to play with leads and lean on their strong starting pitching again here at the Eovaldi. So, yeah, give me the Rangers on the first 5. You like them on the money line. I'd probably go to that too. A little scared about the Rangers bullpen maybe having a blow up here or there. But listen, last night I think Chapman came down, shut down the 8th inning. Leclerc came in the 9th, shut things down. So they got a really good back end of the bullpen for sure. But I think Eovaldi gives them a strong start tonight. All right, so that's Rangers Astros game 2 again, starting up in just about 10 minutes now. How about we got Diamondbacks-Phillies starting up the NLCS tonight. 8:07 first pitch. We get the Phillies favored on the money line, -166. Arizona +140 on the money line. Any picks for this game?
Yeah, you know what? I'll just take the over. It was, 7. It's always a kind of a low number, and I get it. Zach Wheeler, and Zach Gallen, obviously 2 very, very strong pitchers. But the bullpens are both can be a little shaky at times. So, I don't think either pitcher is above getting kind of touched up a little bit. Maybe I'm hoping it's a competitive, tie game. Go and get some extra innings, and they throw that ghost runner on there and kind of helps boost that over. Just have a feeling about it, man. It's just an over for me.
I don't think they do away with the ghost runner in the playoffs, don't they?
Oh, son of a bitch. Well, I'll still take the over.
Okay, yeah. I mean, listen, both these offenses are rolling right now, so I get that. I'm going with Zach Wheeler's outs prop here, over 16.5 outs. He's I think game 1 with game 2 coming up, and then only 1 rest day in between. I think that kind of gives for Gallen too, but Gallen and Wheeler, I feel like both teams really want a strong first start, and for both of them to go 6 innings here. And I like Wheeler's side of things because the 16.5 outs, you're looking at, kind of banking on 6 innings. He went 6+ innings he's gone 6+ innings in 6 of his 8 career postseason starts going back to last year's run. And he did it in both NLCS starts last year with the Phillies. Did it both of these starts this year so far, 6 2/3, 6 1/3. They look to Wheeler to really give them a strong 6-7 innings if possible before they go to the bullpen. He went 6+ innings too, 13 of his last 14 regular season starts to end the year, not counting the last tune-up start where he only threw like 60-some pitches. So, but I think Wheeler goes strong here. Even if he gives up a few early runs, I feel like they're just going to want to leave him in there for 6 innings at least, save some of the better bullpen arms, longer bullpen arms for tomorrow or for later in the series, because after the Phillies, after Wheeler and Nola, and you could throw Ranger Suarez in the mix too, but I think they need, there might be at least 1 or 2 games that are more of a bullpen games for the Phillies, but once they have Wheeler on the mound, they want 6 or 7 from him. So, I'm going with Wheeler's outs prop here, even if he gives up some early runs, which will help your over for tonight.
It's all I'm looking for, man. It's all I'm looking for.
All right, so that's the Diamondbacks-Phillies tonight. Enjoy both these games. Should be a fun night in sports, because we also got Monday Night Football to wrap up Week 6. So let's jump into that now. And by the way, we are gamifying Monday Night Football on the BettorCast app. You can check out Moose and Keith's game preview of the Cowboys at the Chargers, including some of their top picks, and then compete in our free contest over on the BettorCast app by answering pregame questions, which are now live in the BettorCast app. You can predict what will happen, chat with fans about all the big plays. No purchase or subscription necessary. It's always free to play. You can watch Monday Night Football along with us on this BettorCast contest. Play the free contest, win tickets that can be redeemed for authentic NFL signed gear and collectibles. Must be at least 18 years old. You can download the free BettorCast app in the Apple app or Google Play stores and scan that QR code right there. All right, Monday Night Football, Cowboys Chargers. Tonight we got the Cowboys barely favored on the spread here. -1.5 is the line there. Over under at 51. I think we both got a similar read here, but you gave out a pick on Friday's show, kind of a look ahead, and the spread has shortened a little bit. But I think you're doubling down, right, with a pick you gave out on Friday.
Yeah, listen, on Friday I got Chargers +2, which I was very excited about when I saw it go down to 1.5. And obviously, I'm still gonna obviously bet it at 1.5 because I just believe that the Chargers win this game, and I'm gonna do that. The rule for me is never take the Chargers at home when they're favored by more than I think it was 6.5 points,
Yeah.
but now they're at home. They're a dog on Monday night. I know that the myth of the Monday Night Football underdog is completely disproven, but you know what? I'm going to lay into it for this one here. Where's the stat that I like? Here we go. Since the start of the 2022 season, teams are 2-18 straight up and 4-14-2 against the spread the week after facing the San Francisco 49ers. So, like I said to you on Friday, obviously the Niners beat you up so badly that you feel it the following week, and now putting the Cowboys with all of their struggles and a lot of the injuries that they're dealing with, right? They're dealing with some defensive injuries right now and some offensive struggles. So, boom, give me the Chargers.
Yeah.
Give me the points.
I'm with you on that one. And the Chargers coming off the bye week, too, I think is kind of an added bonus on that trend with the 49ers. Cowboys coming off their hard-fought game against the Niners and Chargers coming off a bye. Just fresher legs overall in this. I'm with you on the Chargers. I'll probably take them against the spread, too. I'm giving out the first half spread here for the Chargers, though, as my best bet here. -130 on FanDuel. I just look at the Chargers, like I mentioned, coming off the bye week, I think helps. I feel like they're going to come out with a really good game plan. Justin Herbert coming out, I feel like they're going to be comfortable. He's going to be more comfortable with Austin Eckler back now, too, for the Chargers tonight. He's reportedly, going to be full go coming off the ankle injury, but I think he's going to be – I don't think they're going to limit his snaps or anything, and he's a huge boost because of Mike Williams being out. Just having Eckler and Keenan Allen just being those safety guys for Herbert, I think they're going to come out with a strong game plan. I think they're going to come out really on fire offensively. As you mentioned, the Cowboys kind of reeling a little bit defensively with some major, Vander Esch, I think, is out for the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
We know Diggs is out for the Cowboys. Just a couple key pieces that they're losing now. And you look at some interesting trends. You give a cool stat for teams coming off their games against the 49ers. The Chargers, with Justin Herbert, in the first half in his career, 32-22 against the spread in the first half is Herbert. And since the start of last season, 15-7 against the spread in the first half. Conversely, he's got some terrible against the spread numbers in the second half, but they get out to fast starts. Up in the air of whether they hold on to win, but they usually are coming out to strong starts. So I think that's going to continue here, especially coming off the bye with Eckler back. I feel like they're going to have a really good offensive game plan here to attack the Cowboys.
I think that there's a lot going on. Obviously, you've got Kellen Moore and
revenge game,
right? It's the revenge game, which we know that 60% of the time it works every time. But it's more than, but it's also though, like, in that capacity, the Cowboys also know a lot of Kellen Moore's tendencies. He didn't just he didn't go to the Chargers and like completely revamp his entire scheme. He's got a scheme and he's got particular favorite things that he likes to do. So with all of that, I think that it kind of even with the injuries that the Cowboys are dealing with, they still kind of have an idea. I love both these teams. I think both these teams have great offensive weapons. I think that they can do a lot, but these are teams that, don't you think they kind of shoot themselves in the foot on the regular? Like it just happened. You look at it and you're like, like the Cowboys, they're averaging, I think it's like 26.5 points per game this season. But if you look at if you take away the 40 spot that they put up on the Giants, and then the 38 that they just threw up on the Patriots, because everybody throws up on the Patriots, right? They're like those other 3 games, they're averaging fewer than 19 points per game. Dak Prescott always finds a way to kind of stumble around certain things. It's like what I posted on Twitter, me stumbling, me strutting into this week with more of my Logan Thomas hot takes, right? But it was like Kevin from The Office when he spills the chili all over the place. Like that's kind of where what you see Dak doing on the regular with this offense. So we question Mike McCarthy and some of his clock management skills or his play calling skills. And then on the Chargers side, they score a ton of points, but their defense is just brutal. And so, I look at these two teams as much as I love them because, Chargers home game Monday night, their defense is going to be fired up. So it's like, who's got the advantage here? That's why I'm taking the under 51. I just feel like this is just as great as these offenses can be. That's what it is. And, the under is it's 6-1 on Monday Night Football right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the unders in primetime games this year and going back a couple of years, we've said it a lot this season, but it's been profitable to take the unders in these games, just kind of how the way it goes. And the Chargers, I mentioned, coming off the bye, the defense is going to be well rested, going to be fired up to really limit this Cowboys offense that sometimes, you kind of went through it, but sometimes they just look one-dimensional and they're forcing the ball to Lamb or Pollard, but if they shut down one or two of those guys, then you're putting a lot more pressure on Prescott. We saw it against the Niners, last week, 42-10 final for them. And that's the thing with the Cowboys. You look at their wins this year, they're 3-2, right? Their 3 wins are against the Giants, Jets, and Patriots. Like,
dude, this happens all the time with.
Do we
Dallas.
know how good this team is?
Dude, every time, listen, every single year, go back and look at past year's schedules. Seriously, you'll laugh. Go look at game logs for the Cowboys for the last 5 years. They get such a soft, cushy upfront schedule, and they win the games that they're supposed to win. Some of them become a little bit more high profile than others. Come on, man. It happens all the time. And then every Cowboys fan is like, we're winning the Super Bowl. We're the greatest team ever. Right? I'm sorry, Jim Bowden saying that on the Fantasy Alarm Show.
Underperforming. We're both on the Chargers. You like the under here. We got Better Boss chiming in on the YouTube chat here. Says he's down to 88 cents in his account. Need a best bet for my next dime. What do you think of DeMarcus Lawrence over 0.25 sacks, over a quarter sack at plus 160 odds? Any love for DeMarcus Lawrence here?
I mean, obviously you love DeMarcus Lawrence. He's going to be opposite Rashawn Slater the entire time. That's actually going to be a really fun matchup to watch if you like the in the trenches kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
the thing with the Chargers is that, and Kellen Moore is obviously a huge part of this, but Herbert too, is that they're looking to get the ball out quick when they're passing. They, especially with Lawrence on one side, Parsons on the other. I feel like they're going to want to get the ball out quick, whether it's quick throws to Keenan Allen, quick dump offs to Austin Eckler. I just feel like there won't be a ton of sack opportunities there for guys like, Lawrence, Parsons, and this Cowboys defense. So I would lean to not taking that one. Obviously, you only need half a sack to hit the over there, so I get it. But I just think of how quick the Chargers are probably looking to get the ball out, force the plays away from the Cowboys' top defensive guys, and just try to move the ball that way. So I'd probably lean away from that one, honestly. But again, you only need half a sack to hit the over, so I get it. On that note, though, one of my plays here, I'm going Micah Parsons, under 4.5 total tackles for him, tackles plus assists. We've seen this. We saw this last year. We're seeing it again this year. Parsons is obviously the best player on this Cowboys defense, one of the best players in the league, and teams are looking to scheme plays away from Parsons, force other guys to make the tackles, force other guys to make the plays. When they're running the ball, Chargers, and other teams, but the Chargers tonight, I think they're going to be looking to run it away from Parsons. And on pass plays, I feel like they're going to get the ball out quick, and we know Parsons will be, rushing the passer more often than not. So when they are passing more often, there just won't be as many tackle opportunities there for Parsons. And this 4.5, it seems low for a guy with Parsons's talent and elite level skill set, but he's been under this in 3 or in 4 of 5 games so far this year, and only averaging 3.6 total tackles per game. And this was the same thing we saw last year. He went under this in 13 of 19 games, including the playoffs, only averaged 3.8 total tackles per game last year. So this is offenses are looking to get the ball, whether they're passing or running it, to get the ball away from Parsons, force other guys to beat them. So obviously the sacks are baked into this. Maybe he gets 2 sacks tonight, but I just don't think in terms of general tackles, I just don't see that many opportunities being there for him to go over this. So give me the under on his tackles.
Yeah, he's more about the pass rush than anything else. So I like that call. Yeah, and he works on the outside. So I think that's a good call there. So I'm in on CeeDee Lamb tonight.
Okay.
I mean, I think he's incredibly talented. All we're hearing right now is, they're not utilizing CeeDee Lamb. They're not utilizing CeeDee Lamb in 4 games or 5 games. He's had 4 catches in 4 games. He had 1 catch with 11. Everybody's talking about Dallas's misfires on offense and how they need to get the ball more into the hands of CeeDee Lamb. Tony Pollard too, to a certain extent, but Lamb just, that's their guy, and he needs to catch the ball. CeeDee Lamb tonight against this weak-ass Chargers secondary, over 4.5 receptions. It's minus 130. It's not going to win you a ton of money, but you throw that into a parlay, I think we're good on that.
Yeah, I like this call. I was going to go with Lamb's yards too, but I do think his receptions are the safer way to go with it if you want to target Lamb tonight, because he could easily catch some quick passes from Dak and hit the over on his receptions. Maybe his yards aren't that high, but I do think he's going to be heavily involved in this Cowboys offense, trying to rebound and get back on track from last week. So good call in there. I'm going to go to the Chargers offensive side of things here. Give me Austin Eckler, first game back from injury. Give me his over receiving yards, 32.5 over on FanDuel. I just think that they're, with the week off, with the bye week in between, I feel like they're going to have a lot of plays, focusing on Eckler. I think rushing and receiving. I looked at his total yards prop too, but I'm just going receiving yards because I feel like the loss of Mike Williams here in this Chargers offense just vaults Eckler up to being that second best pass catcher now behind Keenan Allen. And I went back and looked games that Mike Williams has missed for the Chargers. Last year, Eckler went over this prop, had at least 35 receiving yards in 3 of the 4 games that Williams missed. Had 60-plus receiving yards in a couple of those too. And going back to 2019, Eckler's had at least 35 receiving yards in 5 of the last 6 games that Mike Williams has sat. So when Williams is out, when he's missing a game here or there, but now it's for the whole season, obviously. Eckler just vaults up into being much more involved as a pass catcher. He's involved as a runner, of course, too, but as a pass catcher, receiving yards specifically, I think the opportunity is going to be there with Williams out. We also have Joshua Palmer was like a late add with a groin injury tonight. He's expected to play, but still he might be a little limited, but I just think that really puts Eckler in a good spot to go over his receiving yards. He had 47 back in week 1, by the way, before he missed time. So I think he's going to go for 40 plus here tonight.
It should be interesting to watch. Dallas does rank 4th in DVOA against running back pass plays, kind of keeping them a little bit on the underside. For me, I'll push back a little bit on this one, only because I've got Austin Eckler, but I've got over 49.5 rushing yards.
Okay.
Right. Because one of the things that, that I look at also is the scheme change, and Kellen Moore likes the power run more than he likes throwing to his running backs. That's Joe Lombardi's thing, and that's what they used to do there. So I think, here with his first game back, because I was like I was looking, do I do rushing and receiving? Kind of which way do I want to go? But, with Kellen Moore, if he's going to utilize Austin Eckler enough, and a lot more than, obviously Joshua Kelly, he's going to run him. He's going to try and, have establish that run like he likes to do in his offense. So that's kind of why I went the rushing yards instead of the receiving yards. I think his receptions prop was like 4.5 was the over under as well. So if you think that he gets, 4 catches, you're averaging 8 yards per catch against Dallas. Is that possible? So that's just my pushback from there. But that's why I went with the rushing yards for him.
No, I totally get it. I looked at the rushing yards too. I honestly, I'll probably go with his total yards now too, because if you convinced me on his rushing yards, I like his receiving yards. I do think overall, Van Der Esch being out for Dallas is big for this. So like he was one of the guys covering backs coming out of the backfield, and one of their tackle machines in the middle. So I feel like that's going to be a loss facing Eckler, who. Again, I mentioned this earlier. He's reportedly going to be, full go. He's not going to be limited with his snaps or touches, coming off the ankle injury. So that's a good sign for any Eckler props that you're looking at tonight.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just kind of thinking now with Van Der Esch out, I'm going to look up the tackle prop for Marquise Bell.
Well, yeah, because I just gave out the under on Micah Parsons tackles, so someone's got to be
middle alignment, right? You got Van Der Esch out. You're on the under for Micah Parsons. So what about Marquise Bell? I gotta check this out now. No, this is what it's all about, right? It's about finding these plays, these digs that you want to make. This is what you do when you're like searching for props and you're trying to figure out. Who's doing what, and everything that you look at on the, for a game. This is like part of my routine in the morning, right? I feel like all of a sudden I just kind of woke up and I should be eating something like a piece of fruit. Here we go. Tackles, sacks. I want tackles plus assists. Come on, man. I'm on a diet, dude.
There you go. I'm looking at I
don't see Marquise Lee in here.
You can look at Damone Clark. He's the other, high tackle guy for Dallas. He's at 7.5 over on DraftKings, minus 130 to the over. I would consider that. He had 9 tackles last week against the 49ers. That might be one. Donovan Wilson maybe is an option for Dallas.
I mean, I guess Damone Clark probably at the 7.5, considering it, Kellen Moore is going to be like, oh, they don't have Van Der Esch. We could just run right at him up that side. And maybe, maybe make it like that. Yeah. Because I don't see anything for Bell. So, I'd bet the over 7.5 tackles plus assists for Damone Clark.
Yeah, and I'm looking this year. Damone Clark, 31 total tackles on the year for him, leads the team. And Van Der Esch was at 30. But it's a drop off down to like the safeties to Curse, Bell, Malik Hooker, but it is Damone Clark. So I think right now I'm throwing it as one of my picks.
Minus 130, dude. Make it, do it, boom.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm adding that one in because why not? live.
That's that's our pick. Like,
Yeah,
that's
we agree on that one.
It's our together pick. That's
Love
Did we just become best friends?
I don't know, man. I can't get that Jets logo out of my head from earlier in the show.
Hey, man, that's all right. I couldn't get the Philly stank out of my ear every time you were like chewing my ear off on that. Some red pinstripes like burned into my retinas. Brutal.
You got one more pick for this game, right? Before we get out of here.
Gerald Everett. Yeah, there you go. Over 26.5 receiving yards. Dallas, they rank 18th in DVOA against the tight end. They're giving up somewhere in the neighborhood of like 46, 47 yards per game to the position. Not only is Mike Williams out, but you also have Joshua Palmer, who, like you said, banged up with the groin issue. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe that puts Gerald Everett into a little bit nicer of a spot, maybe to run some extra routes if they need to, if they need to take Palmer off the field at any point in time. So over 26.5 receiving yards, man, minus 110.
Yeah. Listen, I think the Williams being out and the Palmer possibly being limited here definitely helps, his props, Keenan Allen's. I gave out Eckler's. I think these guys are all going to probably go over some of their props. We got our producer, Adam Bernard, by the way, he was throwing in our chat that he says Jerome Kearse at strong safety probably have to step up and make more tackles for the Cowboys. So the over on the prop is a consideration too. Yeah, 4.5 is the over under there. I'm looking on DraftKings. You get 4.5 to the over for Kearse for his tackles. Especially if we're talking about Kearse in the safety spot too. Against the run game, obviously, but he's probably going to be a guy asked to cover Eckler. So there's going to be coming out of the backfield and on Everett too. Safety covering Everett. So we like his props. So Jerome Kearse on the over on his props could be an interesting move.
I'm adding the Damone Clark prop to the Fantasy Alarm article right now.
Woo! We agree on it. Love it. And that one's it's minus 130 is not too bad to take the over on. So I'm fine with that.
Oh, just parlay these props together, right? It's two minus 130s, a minus 125, and a minus 110. I mean, those odds aren't great, but you throw that into a parlay, boom, boom, boom.
There you go. All right, so that about does it for this show. By the way, I think we're both happy to hear this. Rangers 3-0 in the first inning already. Valdez is, and there's two guys on, and they got no outs still in the first inning.
Oh my God, I'd flex right now, but I don't want to rip my shirt.
So listen, if you tuned in earlier, you would have gotten our, Howard gave out the Rangers money line. I gave out the Rangers in the first 5 innings. So, not to call it an early win or anything, but it's looking good in the first inning, 3-0.
It's looking good so far.
Looking good. We'll see what Eovaldi does when he comes back up in the bottom of the first.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine. I'm confident in it. All right, so that's it for us. We'll be back tomorrow here on Bettor Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm YouTubes. Talk some Heisman odds tomorrow. Talk some more baseball bets. We'll have James Grande on. Maybe talk some NBA with him as well. Howard will be back on Wednesday's show to talk some early leans for NFL Week 7. So definitely stay tuned for that. See where we're looking for the early picks there. Enjoy the Bettor Cast tonight over on for Monday Night Football. Getting in there later tonight. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Good luck with all your own bets and picks, and we'll catch you guys later.
Peace.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports Network.